Sometimes the biggest influences on our lives are the ones we can't even see. Today, we're going to talk about one of those, a powerful childhood experience that often goes completely unnoticed. But its echoes, they can shape our entire adult lives, often in ways we don't even realize. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been going through a really tough time, but there's this little voice inside your head that just says, suck it up, it's not that bad? That your problems just aren't big enough to, bother anyone with? Well, if you've ever felt that, I want you to know you are definitely not alone. It's a feeling a lot of people know all too well. So what's behind that feeling, that weirdly familiar but also kind of confusing impulse to downplay our own stuff? Well, to really get it, we have to go back, way back. And look, this is way more than just being humble, or not wanting to be a burden. It's like a knee-jerk reaction, an almost automatic reflex to just minimize your own needs. It's this deep down sense that your inner world, your struggles, your successes, all of it is somehow just less important than what everyone else is going through. And yeah, a pattern this deep, it almost always has roots in our past. Okay, so where does that automatic reflex actually come from? To figure that out, we've got to look at a very specific kind of childhood environment. It's one that revolves around the experience of what you could call the unseen child. Right, and it's really important we get this distinction because when we talk about tough childhoods, our brains usually jump to overt mistreatment, right? Actual harmful things that are done to a kid. But this emotional invisibility is something else entirely. It's not about what is done, it's about what isn't done. It's this quiet absence, this lack of emotional attention, where a kid's feelings are just, well, they're just not seen. Okay, so how does something so quiet turn into a lifelong pattern? It's pretty fascinating, actually. There's a specific psychological process that takes this experience and, step by step, builds it into a core belief. So think about it. A kid's brain is basically a little detective, always trying to make sense of the world. So step one, their feelings. Maybe they're sad, maybe they're super excited. They just go unnoticed. And this isn't a one-off thing. It happens again and again, consistently. So that little detective brain starts looking for clues. It needs a reason for this pattern. And the conclusion it comes to is actually totally logical. It thinks, well, if nobody ever reacts to my feelings, then my feelings must not be important. And just like that, the brain writes a rule. A really simple but really powerful rule. And that rule, it's not some big, dramatic declaration. It's quiet. It's simple. And it becomes this deeply ingrained belief. It's kind of like the background operating system for a person's whole life. And what does it say? My feelings simply do not matter. So this core belief that gets baked in during childhood, it doesn't just vanish when you grow up. No way. It sends out these ripples, these echoes that have a huge impact on how you act as an adult. So let's take a look at what some of those echoes actually look like. Okay, first up, there's that automatic reflex we mentioned earlier, just downplaying your own pain. You could get really sick or face a major setback at work and your go-to line is, oh, it's nothing, I'm fine. Sound familiar? Second, you find yourself actively avoiding asking for help. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you believe your feelings don't matter, why on earth would you burden somebody else with them? And finally, and this one is huge, it can make it genuinely hard to even know what you're feeling. After a whole lifetime of your emotions being ignored, you can kind of lose the words for them yourself. All right, so if this entire thing is defined by being invisible, what in the world are we supposed to do about it? Well, the most important first step is actually pretty simple. It's about starting to notice the invisible. And this is the real game changer. Just becoming aware, really seeing the connection between what happened then and how you feel now is so powerful. Understanding why you have that automatic habit of minimizing your feelings. Look, it's not about blaming anyone. It's about getting clarity. It takes what feels like this messy, confusing internal struggle and turns it into something you can actually understand, a pattern with a story. And that really brings us to the whole point of this. So far, we've been talking about the what and the why, but the real power is in the what if. So I want to leave you with a question to just think about. What could actually change for you in your life, in your big decisions, in your relationships, if you just started, even in the smallest ways, to treat your own feelings like they matter?